Tonight on the Goblin's Corner.
Elder Goods.
That's how we roll. 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 That's how we roll.
Welcome to the Goblin's Corner. My name is Eric.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight,
We're doing Elder Goods.
yeah, this is our Christmas episode, guys.
It's true.
More specifically, it comes out on Christmas week, which is why.
Sure.
And we did Elder Evils for Halloween.
Right. And that was not a mispronunciation. I said Elder Goods, not Elder Gods.
That's right. And because we did Elder Evils, why
Around
not?
about Halloween.
Why not do an Elder Goods episode? We
Sure.
thought. Because guess what? Nobody has.
It's true. I've never heard of an Elder Good before we started rambling on about it.
And now we have. And so tonight's episode, which, by the way, I have my Christmas shirt on. It's Godzilla eating Santa Claus, which I think is very appropriate.
Yeah, I've got mine on too. It's it says Loot Division.
Which is
And it's
also appropriate given the holiday season.
Indeed. See, you pass stuff around.
Yeah. So, and it's not just Christmas around the world. People are doing Hanukkah. People are doing Kwanzaa. People are doing all sorts of other things around this time as well. So
That's true.
So I
Yule,
say,
Solstice,
Yeah.
Festivus.
Yo Saturnalia, for those who
Yeah.
speak Latin. Yeah.
And there are people who still celebrate.
Yeah. Or just people who want to get drunk, which is also,
And right.
and rampant on the holidays. So we're going to do the holiday episode for you guys. But before we get to that,
We've got a question of the week, man.
that's right. So lay it on me. What's our question for the week for Elder Goods tonight?
Question of the week is, you are one of Santa's agents in the world. What is your specialty?
Ooh. Delivering coal to bad kids. I would definitely be some sort of Krampus creature.
Sure.
You know, that's kind of not nice. Let me try to do something on the Elder Goods side here.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
you know, 'cause,
I
you
mean,
know,
punishing the wicked is still,
still good.
yeah,
Yeah, I can punish the wicked, but you know, Christmas isn't my shtick normally.
it's true.
You know, I'm much more of a Halloween, St. Patty's Day kind of guy, but I will go out on a limb and say that I would be, if I was one of Santa's helpers, or anybody's helpers really, I would be the person that gets everybody into bed at night. So you're out on pause for just a second, because I know that this sounds strange, but you're on a bender. It's the holidays, right?
Yeah.
You got that Christmas party, and you're passed out drunk in a hallway. I'm gonna be that responsible person that gets you home.
I got you.
Yeah, some kind of like the angel of getting the drunk guy home at night.
Yeah.
He stumbles out of the bar before he gets rolled by a bunch of toughs. I roll up, smack somebody with a chain, drag him home.
Sure.
See?
Yeah.
Who said I can't do both, right? Do a little violence and a little good.
Yeah, you're the designated driver.
I'm the designated driver, the angelic designated driver.
Yep.
I love that.
I can see that.
Yes. Have a little slot on my Santa cap.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See,
Who also has a Santa's cap with a slot on it.
it
just keeps
it's
getting
fractal.
smaller.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
all the
that's
way
right.
down. Yeah, it's, you know where
And
it's
it
going.
curls like Fibonacci style.
Oh, yes. You could see the entire reality with it. All right, before we get out of
Yeah.
we've already run this conversation's already gone off the rails here, but what is your Santa's helper spirit or whatever?
See, I feel like you and I would probably work together because I would be the shepherd of the nice, right? Like,
The shepherd of the nice.
yeah, you've been doing a good job, but it's a tough world out there.
It is.
And sometimes that tough world, it's filled with assholes. And sometimes those assholes prey on the nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the guy with the sledgehammer that says no.
So you're gonna beat up everybody that preys on the nice.
Yeah.
We
on Christmas. Yeah.
So basically, we're vigilantes.
I mean,
Christmas vigilantes.
yes.
Yes. Then that, by the way, could be a very fun TTRPG game to play, guys.
Absolutely.
Think about that.
It could also be an awesome album for Christmas music. If somebody wants to write that,
That is also
that
a
would
wonderful
be super
idea.
dope.
Yes. Are you a vigilante, or perhaps you're a musician? Write to us, info@goblinscorner.com, or you can reach me, Eric at goblinscorner.com, or
Me, Matt at goblinscorner.com.
and of course, you can find us on all the things, such as Instagram
It's true. And Twitter.
and Twitter. Lots of Twitter happening action. It's happening. It's the happening thing. That's I'm going to talk like from the 1920s now. It's the bee's
Brr.
knees. It's the happening thing. All right. So let's get to the matter at hand here because we are talking about elder goods. I think the first thing to ask is, what exactly are we talking about here? What is an elder good? And we talked about elder evils in a previous episode.
It's true. And some of this information and ideas will cross over
Mm-hmm.
because from our point of view, they spring into the world at a similar time frame, right?
Yeah. In fact, the creation of the world is one of the reasons what an elder good is.
Right.
So it is a personification of something created from the first act of good.
So we have as an option entities spun out of the chaotic soup at the start of creation.
Yep. So universe is created. You've got the elder evils. You've got the elder goods.
Yep.
Straight up.
Balance and chaos and all sorts of crazy people out there, but in this case, the goods.
Mm-hmm. We have things that might have come about from the first hope of sentient species.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. You got powerful immortals that are awaiting the final battle / second coming or what have you.
Waiting for Ragnarok.
Yeah, they're just napping.
For the world serpent to finally wake up and burst forth out of the mountains.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're going to slay that serpent. Barbecue it.
Delicious.
It'd be delicious. Yeah.
barbecue.
Barbecued
I'm
serpent.
thinking like Korean barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like
Got
kinda
that
like
tang
eel.
to it.
Yeah.
That venom is delicious tang. Elder goods could be cosmic creatures of some sort that exist beyond time and space, or even our concept of time and space. So some kind of, I don't know, multidimensional beings, right?
Sure. No reason why they wouldn't.
No?
They're powerful forces which seek to unbalance reality for good. But they're still seeking to unbalance reality just like the evil ones are.
They are still powerful beings.
Yep.
Very powerful beings. And of course, all of this comes down to these are story elements because in many ways, this isn't really like a big bad good guy.
Yeah.
A big bad good guy.
A-
It's
A
definitely
big,
not.
good guy.
Yeah, it's definitely not an assailant unless you're playing like an epic campaign. This is much more like a fulcrum for a story to lever it on. So it's an event. It's something that's happening. It is something that's going on in the world.
Sure.
So it's story elements mostly. And in fact, they're pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the next question. Why are we doing elder goods?
Well, first off, it's a Christmas show. So
Mhm.
why not talk about good stuff?
Yeah, we talk about horrible things that exist beyond the portal, with skewed geometry.
Sure.
But what's the reverse of that?
Right. And as you said, we've already talked about the elder evils. And another one is that elder goods can make a campaign, right?
Sure.
They're the balance to horrible evils, that get out of hell free card. It's a nice way to end a storyline after defeating big bad guys.
Yes. And that's something that you don't see explored a lot in many games. You've defeated the big bad. What happens now? Well, you've saved the world. Well, what happens when the world's safe? Well, if the bad guy's dead, then good wins. What's the ramifications of that?
Right.
It could be great. Probably will be great because now good wins, but may not be great for you. And we'll get to that in just a minute.
Well, the other side of that is they can be, if you're running a neutral or evil campaign, they can be assailants for evil characters and sometimes good ones if they're not the same flavor of good.
So if you want to play a post-apocalyptic campaign, but you don't want to be the typical, the world's ending because the evil one has come bursting forth, maybe you're the villains and the good guys are winning.
Yeah.
What happens now? You know they're winning. How do you save evil? That's a really cool, interesting spin on things.
Yeah. Or even neutrality.
Or neutrality. Yeah. Maybe you just want to preserve the balance, guys. And they can also be the end of a story. Like just the end of it. Like, here's the aftermath. Here's what happens. And now good wins. What happens to the world? Oh, and one other thing it could also be, it could be the start of a campaign as well.
Sure.
So it could be the creation of the world, which would be really neat for like a beginning mythos.
That could be cool. I was actually thinking, like, for the beginning of a campaign, the elder good burst forth. You've got these militant good people who are 100% self-assured in their righteousness because the big guy is right over there. And you're a group of neutrals who are backed by an elder balance or an elder evil who are just trying to let people live their lives, because good is not always great.
Yeah, good's not always great. In fact, good sometimes can suck for you.
It can be every bit as tyrannical as evil.
Yes, and it can
Look
be...
at Puritanism.
Yes.
They thought they were good.
And, when we talk about alignments in games, it really depends on what kind of alignments you're playing with as well.
Sure.
But if you want to go extreme with things, you can. Or you can just ad-lib this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So you've decided you want to make an elder good.
Right.
Or several elder goods, but usually it's just one, because you don't need more than one. Just like an elder evil, it's going to end the world, it's going to create the world or save the world. Just need one, right?
Right.
So how are we going to create this, Matt?
Well, first you have to decide, we discussed earlier, where do elder goods come from? You need to decide what their beginning is. Where did they come from? Because this is going to depend on your story and your world and how you want them to fit into your cosmos.
So what we're talking about here is give your elder good an origin story of some sort.
Even if it's like a 3-sentence paragraph, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and
you
this,
just need to know.
And this will tie in the elder good to the rest of the mythos that you've created for your world, or it's a great place to start if you haven't created the rest of your world. So, for example, one elder good might be, we'll go to the Forgotten Realms, might be like an overgod of some sort. So, like, that Io is not really a good overgod, but
right. He's just a dude.
He's just a dude, right?
Yep.
Just a powerful dude. But you might, when you're creating your game world, might have an overarching deity of good, an overarching deity of evil.
And then Io in the center.
And then, some dude in the center. Might be a frog god with a mallet. Just saying. A clockwork creature on the other side.
Yep.
Got the 4 axis there.
For me, another option is, let's say you've created an entire mythos for your world, or you're playing with a world that has a mythos. These can be things that live outside of your mythos.
Yes. Like creatures beyond our understanding.
Yeah, if you take the Far Realm as an example, right? It is a realm of absolute madness, and there's crazy Cthulhu type creatures out there. It is chaos soup. There is literally no reason that good cannot come out of chaos as well.
Yes.
So,
and it could be something that lies outside that realm, or you could have a plane of good like that, and nobody goes to it. The gods don't even go to that.
Right.
They have no understanding of that concept because it's
too far out,
right? But something bursts forth from that, and there you go, wrecks everything because
the universe isn't good enough.
Sticking your in the mashed potatoes, man. It doesn't matter whether you're evil or good. They're going to do it. So when we're talking about building an elder good, you also want to consider what their goals are.
Right. Like, do they want world peace? A lawful and just society.
Oh, boy. Paladin's going to love that. No one else. Yeah. That's not true. That's not true. You could be playing Silver Dragon.
It's true.
Or Gold Dragon.
The thing is if all of the laws are just and good, then that can be a good thing, depending on what this elder goods concept of just and good are.
Fair enough. Yeah. If it's a concept that aligns with the player characters, perfect. If it isn't, you're going to have some problems there. You're going to have to weasel your way out of some lawful constraints there. What form does your elder good take? Now, it could take multiple different types of forms.
Sure.
As always. And when you think, when we think elder evils, we naturally come to mind like the demons or some kind of chthonic creature with multiple tentacles and
Sure.
or even something from Alien that, injects something into your skull and it bursts. But you don't have to be angelic and good. You could.
Very specifically, you could be angelic and good. But we're not talking about D&D angels.
No.
Biblical angels
Or frightening.
were terrifying. In the Christmas story, right? Be not afraid, for I bring tidings of great joy. Okay, if you're a gorgeous being of light, you don't need to lead with don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. I'm just this flying, freakish thing.
If you're something that is made out of wings and eyes and rings with no visible mouth or anything else, maybe you need to lead with, no, it's cool. I'm all right.
I'm on your side. I'm good. Yeah. So it could be literally anything. Well, look at like Diablo, the angels from Diablo.
Yeah.
They've got like tentacles instead of wings.
Yeah. Like light tentacles.
Yeah. So, I mean, like it could be something beautiful, could be something frightening.
Yeah.
Form matters not.
Yeah. It could be a kitten.
It could, in fact, be a kitten.
Kittens are good.
Usually.
It's widely agreed.
Yes. They are good things.
Yeah. So.
It's debatable whether their morality is good or not, though.
But they're good according to themselves.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true. So they can be beautiful, horrible. They may simply just take a form that is understandable by the person they are attempting to communicate with, which is going to show up in a bunch of peasants. You might look like a peasant, right? Show up in front of a bunch of nobles. You might look like a noble.
Sure.
Show up a bunch of mages. You might look like
Gandalf.
Sure. Why not? Right? Gandalf would be qualified for something like this, yeah. I'm sure.
But you could also take the form from the collective unconscious. Like if the general concept of what a person that is good looks like.
So like a jolly fat man in a red suit that comes down people's chimneys and gives gifts?
Indeed.
Wow.
Yes, Santa's an elder good. I stand by that.
Think about that, folks. Yeah. All right. So once you've come up with your general idea of what it's going to look like, its goals, like I said, world peace, just giving everybody a present, or like I said, getting that poor drunk guy home from the holidays. Now you got to give it some kind of abilities to kind of fit that mythos.
Yeah, we know what it is, but now what can it do?
Now we've got two types of abilities on this. We've got the abilities that it possesses, but also kind of the effects, like the passive abilities its coming is going to bring forth into the world. Because remember, this isn't like your run-of-the-mill angel or diva.
Right. Like ancient dragons, right? They changed the world around them.
Yes.
So
and good bursting forth from some other realm is going to completely alter the landscape.
Absolutely.
It should, at least. And again, think of the Elder Evil stuff we talked about previously. Just kind of reverse it a little bit.
Sure. Well, let's start with some of the active abilities,
okay.
Right?
Now, what are some active abilities an Elder Good might have?
Well, they may have the ability to take immense size and strength.
Sure.
So, I mean, right.
The typical.
Sure.
Might look like a big warrior or something like that. Or maybe they're just like a small little creature, but they're really strong.
They could have powers. And for powers for a greater good, I would tend to think along the lines of healing, restorative, radiant type abilities.
Positive energy damage.
Sure. Even things that are probably sound related, right?
Holy fire, maybe.
Yeah. But like choral, like anything, their shatter might be literally a chorus that just.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think about that. Yeah, so some kind of sonic type damage.
And the other side of that, right, is you can flavor things to be appropriate.
And if you're looking for ideas, go watch the anime, The Seven Deadly Sins. It's really because they've got like different angelic powers. I know you haven't seen it, Matt. It's fine, but someone that's listening to us has. It's kind of cool to kind of see the different demonic versus angelic powers going on. And I'm sure there's other cartoons you can watch too. But I mean, like, that was just fresh in my head.
Sure. A lot of times these are going to be more descriptive than story driven than mechanical.
Yeah, so when they pop up, it might grab a mountain, toss it aside, or whatnot. But you don't
Carve
really
a throne out of it.
Yeah, they don't need. You don't really need to get into like how powerful it is or how much damage it does. It just slaughters an army of evil creatures. That's not really. You don't have to like roll for damage. Although, if you're playing an epic campaign, you might want to get those numbers out. But so think about who you're running with.
Sure.
If it's going to be just background because it has burst forth into the world, and you're dealing with the aftermath of everything else, then you don't have to do that.
Right.
If you're playing an epic campaign and you know that your murder hobo folks are not good and they want to kill this good creature, then time to roll some stats up.
Yeah. You're going to need to know at that point.
Yeah. Now we mentioned some active abilities. Let's talk a little bit about the passive abilities as well. And you mentioned a few, like you mentioned healing, for example.
Sure. Like when this guy or girl or
whatever.
Yeah. Other.
Yeah.
Bursts forth from its grand realm, it might literally heal everyone on the planet of disease.
And it may not just be when it bursts forth. It could be
continuously.
Well, more like you could scale it up too. So maybe like a week or two, you see like prophets see the sign, right? The sign of the second coming, and everyone is healed of disease. Maybe a week after that, people are rising from the dead.
And I mean, it's always great to live in a world where you get to see grandma again.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe when it gets even closer, other strange things happen. Maybe like people just regenerate. You cut your arm and it just immediately just comes back, right?
What if in a somewhat Christio kind of point of view, it starts pulling the good people towards them and elevating them?
Ah.
And in a rapturous sort of way.
Sure.
I wouldn't go overly Christiocentric on it because you don't want to piss anybody off.
Well, that too requires a session 0.
True.
So think about some of those story options for passive abilities that are happening to the world. It could just be flowers begin to bloom, or it's always springtime, or no one gets cold, or, all those other things. Or hell, it could even be stranger stuff like that. Maybe because it is a force of creation, people are all getting pregnant.
Could be.
That could be a good thing or an awful thing, depending upon how you view it.
Also, what if chimeras are being born all over the world because it just facilitates interspecies breeding?
Oh, man. Yeah, that could happen. Bards across the realm are getting frisky with all sorts of things, and all kinds of just strange and wonderful creatures are being born from it.
Who won the race, the tortoise or the hare? Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, there you go. So whatever the case, these passive and sometimes the active abilities, but all of them should be monumental and badass.
Yeah. Probably with a touch of terrifying.
I think terrifying is definitely something you should always add. So it's, again, it's doing what you're taught versus doing what a deity says.
Yeah.
Just because you're doing good doesn't mean it's not the good that it wants you to do.
Right. There's a whole lot of shades in there.
What else do we have in terms of when you're creating your elder good?
Is it an active contributor to its return? Like, does it collect cultists and things like that to try and gather the power to bring it back? Or is this just a predestined thing? Is it going to occur on the 14th moon of the 3000th year, blah, 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 all of that? Or did it finally just find a weak point in the wall and come busting through like the Kool-Aid man?
Bust some membranes through. And that's something to consider too. If you're playing, again, with questionable moral types and stuff, it might be one of those things where like everything's predestined. The world will be saved, but it's going to change everything. And guess what? You're not part of that good crowd.
Yeah.
How do you fight against that when everything is predestined? Can you fight fate? That's a kind of a cool concept to play.
And the answer is, of course you can.
It's just going to require a bigger crowbar.
Might have to murder your party.
Whatever. So story-wise, start small, ramp it up. The closer the elder good returns, the crazier things get, as we mentioned.
Sure.
But also think about how this creature interacts with the world overall.
Yeah. So I touched on this a little bit. Like, does it have minions? Does it send dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have cultists? We discussed a while back in the cult episode
How to build a better cult.
Yeah, that you can have good cults.
Yeah. And it could be one of those things where the cultists are actively trying to get the elder good into this world.
Sure.
And just because they're good too doesn't mean they're not above murdering some people like the player characters to make this happen.
Absolutely. If you are in opposition of a zealot, then you are the evil one, even if you're not evil.
Mm-hmm. Are there artifacts that your greater good interacts through?
Could be.
It could. Maybe it's like a holy sword of some sort, or
You could have a Palantir type situation where people don't even know they're being manipulated by the darkness on the other side.
yeah, the first lovebird. Think about like two little lovebirds, like doves or whatever. What are they called?
Lovebirds.
Lovebirds.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was right with that.
And the person who has the artifact could be communicating with this thing willingly, could be communicating with it unknown to them,
Mm-hmm.
or they could be communicating with it unwillingly.
Are there specific signs of their return that work their way into the world? And again, this is something you weave in as the being starts getting closer and closer to bust through into our universe.
Sure. Like in your example of the lifey sort of fertility one, maybe your world has never had winged squirrels before. Maybe they've never had, natural creatures that are now naturally capable of interbreeding.
I've got one that's really horrible if you're interested.
Sure, man. Yeah.
It's good, though. So, say a couple weeks before the elder good pops forth, it's a elder good of creation and communication. And everyone is able to feel everybody else's emotions so that understanding happens. And then a week goes by and everyone is able to hear everybody's thoughts. You see where this is going? And then
Welcome to the hive mind.
Yeah. And then a week after that, everyone is able to feel the emotions of animals. And then they can talk to the animals. The world's about to be a very noisy place.
Yes.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm guessing the thoughts of squirrels are probably something I don't want to hear all the time when I go outside, or birds. Dogs would be like, hey, hey, hey.
I'm happy to see you. Give me pettings. Whereas birds are going to be like, this is my tree. This is my tree. This is my tree. Want a screw? This is my tree. Look
Yeah.
at this nest. Want a screw? And like, that's literally it.
You look at your cat and it's like, what the fuck do you want? You know what I mean? Like, so again, this is a good thing, right?
No, it's awful, but yes.
But it's awful as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can have fun with this.
If it was a greater good of understanding, it's going to be a greater good of absolutely insane hive mind is what
Yes.
it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. And then everybody kind of synchronizes at some point as it bursts forth.
Sounds awful.
It does sound awful, doesn't it? What do the various mortal factions, again, like the cultists, think about its origins or goals? And, how does this influence how they react to the world?
Now, their cultists are going to think it's the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be zealots. That's
Because
what makes them cultists.
they want this return for the elder good.
They want to join the universal mind. But if you think about the fact that a lot of religions are based off of people making choices
Sure.
to do certain things, the concept of a universal hive mind is anathema to that. Because now we're all making one choice based off of all of the input that we're receiving.
Yeah.
And so nearly every religion is going to be against this, even the good ones.
Oh, flip it on the other side. Maybe it's chaotic good. It's the elder good of freedom. Everybody can make their own choices, which means nobody gets along.
And you can choose to get along as long as they choose to get along too.
Yeah, so madness and chaos is what I'm saying. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about elder good, but we'll be right back.
After these messages.
You with the face. Do you like what we have to say?
Help our channel rise from the depths like the mighty Godzilla.
Please like and subscribe and ring the bell and do all of the necessary YouTube.
What he said.
If there are any topics you would like us to cover, goods or services you would like us to review, or if you would like to sponsor an episode, we would love for you to contact us at info@goblinscorner.com. See you there.
And we're back.
Welcome back.
So we're talking elder goods and why you should play elder goods. We talked a little bit about that. We talked about how to make elder goods and kind of their relationship in terms of how they relate to the world, their goals, maybe some of their powers and so forth. And so we're just kind of continuing this conversation a bit. So what's the next thing we got here?
So you've got to decide whether or not this thing is a thinker, right? Is it a sentient creature, or is it just a force
Yes.
of whatever it is? Creation, evolution, healing, joy, whatever. What's its brain like? Does it scheme? Is it passively benevolent? Like, does just the fact that it's here, is that what does it, or does it make the choice to do good things?
Yeah, because its personality will determine its motivations or lack of motivations. It'll also determine kind of its game plan once it does come through, or how it reacts to its cultists or various other individuals, either through communication through artifacts or dreams or whatnot. So how is it thinking if it does? Now, it may not think at all. It may just be warm fuzzies, right? It's like that dude on the beach that's just sitting there with a fat joint in his hand. Just, yeah, man, everybody's just going to get along, bro.
Yep. Could just be a tiny little glowing mote of light that everywhere it goes.
It's going Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
Zelda
no,
there.
I knew exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've played that game. So think about how it relates. It could be anthropomorphic.
Yep.
Look like a person, act like a person, or some kind of humanoid creature.
Sure.
Or it could, as you mentioned, it could be a cat. And nobody knows nobody knows the scheming that a cat might do. I mean, it says it's good, but is it really?
Only if it's a black cat.
Fair enough. Is it locked up? So we've been talking about like where its home plane is, but is it locked in that plane? Can it bust through at any moment? Or maybe it's already not in its home plane. Maybe it's someplace else.
It could be locked in the world. Like
yeah.
it could already exist on this plane, and the cult is actively seeking it.
That's a good point. Locked in an artifact or locked in like a room or something like that. I see like an ice box. It's locked in a refrigerator. That'd be kind of funny.
I was thinking locked kind of Promethean.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just chained to a table somewhere with a vulture eating its liver every day.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool too.
Eagle? Might have been an eagle.
The eagle, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but it's been a while since I thought about it. So yeah, so think about where it is. Because that will depend on how you can free it if you're going to, or how its cultists free it.
Yeah. Is it deep in space for that matter,
Could
right?
be.
Like, is it a visitor from beyond the star?
What if it's the sun?
Sure.
An elder, because the sun is the source of all life. It's also the source of destruction, by the way.
Sure.
Because when the sun explodes, we're gone. But we're all made of star stuff. So that would be kind of a cool concept to think of as the elder good is the sun.
Yeah.
And it bursting forth will save the world by destroying the world.
Absolutely.
It's kind of horrifying to consider. I'm really going in a dark place with this, and I really shouldn't. This is supposed to be like the good concept.
Well, we're walking that balancing act between the fact that good can have a lot of different definitions, right? If the creature bursting forth from its sun egg, if you will, or sun prison, brings absolute peace and understanding and joy in a flash to the world, it perfected the world right before the world was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Something amazing happened.
Yeah.
It just was followed by something suboptimal.
The problem is something amazing happened, and something amazing will happen again. But if it happens again, you're probably not going to be around for that amazing second thing.
Most likely not.
Yeah. So something to think about. All right. These are just some options to create your elder good. And I think at this point, you've created your elder good, or at least you have an idea in your head.
Yeah. You've got a mental sketch.
Yeah. You've got like kind of what it looks like, where it resides, maybe what its home demiplane looks like of whatever it is. And now you kind of figure out like, what are some common purposes that you can use an elder good in your story as a DM?
Right. So we've got one.
It's the big bad evil guy.
Right.
Just the opposite of that.
Sure. Or
it is the big bad evil guy.
Yeah.
Big bad good. The big good guy.
The big bad good guy. Because you're actively working against.
There's not an acronym for an assailant that's supremely
BGGG?
good. Yeah, the BGGG. Dun 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 dun. I'm thinking Bee Gees.
I know.
So, yeah, if you're not a good character, or even if you are a good character, it may not be the type of good that you want, or the society that you want to live in after everything. So think about, it could just be an assailant. Always easy to roll with.
Sure.
It could be a source of inspiration or power. So this would be great for clerics.
Yeah.
Or for warlocks with a celestial patron. Yeah.
Sorcerers.
Yeah.
Paladins.
Celestial bloodline sorcerers would be kind of neat. Paladins. Oh, certainly paladins.
Yeah.
Possibly temptation.
Sure.
That would be a fun game to play where you're a morally ambiguous character that's getting tempted to be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Santa. Children are morally ambiguous. And
Santa
parents
tempts them to be good so that they get presents. I like that. That's fairly appropriate.
I'm just saying, like, I really wouldn't mind running like Santa as some sort of large patron.
I see the pun there.
Fair.
Yeah. What else could it be?
It could be the creation of new lands. Like maybe this creature comes out and it literally
Creates the world.
is or adds to it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it bursts forth. Now there's a new continent.
Yep.
Or a new moon. That's no moon.
I was waiting for that. I knew you couldn't resist it.
Yes. We are a Star Wars family here. Yes. Or it could be an entirely new story. And so the first age has ended. Now you are going into the second age of the world, which is kind of cool.
Sure. You could have like the great good of evolution. So instead of when you unlock it, you enter the next area of, or the next era of a species.
Oh, so like the monolith in 2001.
Absolutely. Or even like the next era from the Cretaceous to the Jurassic to the, like, even further, a larger step, not just a single species, but, and
multiple ages.
Right. I knew those weren't in order, but it was
That's fine.
example.
Yeah, it's okay. Nobody else remembers that either except
I'm not going to remember.
paleontologists. Yeah. So
I used to know.
it's okay. Here's something that also is a fun thing to consider. What if this is the only way that people can evolve? That's what I mean by that is think of the concept of, say, lawful good or chaotic good, even if you want it. I'd say chaotic good because evolution is kind of chaotic in many ways. Let's say lawful evil is stasis. Just work with me here.
Okay.
Lawful evil is crystallization. It is stasis. It seeks to bend others to laws. The chaotic good, elder good, is evolution, freedom, and expression. So when it bursts forth, everybody can then create, express, evolve. And then when it disappears, maybe in a cyclic kind of thing, and then the lawful evil dominates, restricts, codifies. And so there's this natural cycle of yin and yang, basically, where
Right.
you have of law versus chaos, and both of them burst forth at specific times. And so the world is always balanced. That would be a very neat concept to play, because you'd have elder evil, elder good.
But the balance is cyclical, not static.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it's not cyclical, and for the longest time, the world has been locked in stasis, and it requires some heroes to break forth that fourth wall, get, the concept of evolution and freedom out so that a reign of peace can rule. And then it's there. It's just chilling until some heroes of evil break forth, the concept of stasis and restriction, because unbridled chaos is no better than unbridled law and stagnation.
Sure. Got to keep moving, man.
Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of movement, guys.
This could be an event or campaign, right? Like the ending of the world or the coming of a great one. It's for your adventurers to adventure through, not necessarily to attempt to stop, or it's now kind of a part of the setting.
Yes. So it's a background element. Now, if you want to go more direct, it could provide allies to the adventurers.
Sure.
So it might take the form of churches or something, maybe something like that established. It could also serve, as we mentioned, as a foil for adventurers, depending upon the society.
Right. So like their cults could be just like in the ancient evils, right? Their cults could just be another stumbling block
Bunch
in
of
the world.
dudes that you've got to step over or stab.
Yep.
To get to where you need to be. We mentioned it could be an opportunity for players.
Sure.
So, an elder good just could be simply that.
Yeah. I mean, you could start off as your players are members of the cult.
Yeah. And then you get bonuses according to how much you leveled up or deeds that you've done.
Yeah.
And eventually it bursts forth and gives you a really nice present. It breaks forth from your fireplace.
Yeah.
A jolly old elf. And like, you've been a very good boy this year.
Indeed. Here's a magic bag full of holding filled with magic items.
Yeah. Oh, the loot god has given me delightful loot. Finally, it can just be a background element to your world. Something that's going on.
Yep. This is known.
It is known. It's not even related to anything that you're doing. It's just part of the world, right?
Or it might not be known. You've got to interact with certain things that make it known.
The sun is shining. We don't know why. There are good things happening. We don't know why. And eventually you learn. All right. So we've got some good examples of elder goods.
Sure. That's step one, right? Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, that was going to be the first one we came up with.
Sure. I think I really would enjoy
A Santa Claus campaign.
a Christmas campaign. I might look and see what I can do about writing something like that up.
That'd be fun. Gaia Awakens. That's another one that you could come up with.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
The world is the greater good, and she wakes up.
And she's not happy with what you've been doing with the world. What's all this crap on me in my ocean? This is plastic? Really? You guys made out of this? Come on.
Those were my pets, you bastards.
Mother.
A divine life touches an uninhabitable area.
So some kind of spirit of life. So maybe like a barren desert, or maybe someplace where a bunch of mages battled.
Yeah.
Now suddenly is vibrant.
Yep. Can you imagine in the middle of hundreds of thousands of acres in the Sahara, one little seed gets planted and it just starts to go green from all the way up. Just
Yeah.
that would be super cool. Let's see. A sacred seal releases the first spirit of good into the realm.
That would
See,
be kind of neat.
Yeah, you got this adorable little seal, and it's like,
No, I was thinking a little glowing light. Hey, listen. All across the world, every child is born smarter, more attractive, and utterly devoted to something you can't perceive beyond the stars. It's a greater good, guys.
sure. Feels suboptimal as an adult.
I mean,
but-
it's freakish, right?
yeah. Or what if something beyond the stars is moving closer and people around the world just randomly start having magical powers?
So basically the beginning of Heroes.
Sure. Yeah.
Just all around the world, people just, man, woke up today, could, shoot lightning bolts out of my hand. That's a good day for me.
Right.
I won't be using it for good. I've got a list that I've been writing down. So people just have to go away for a little while. Don't judge me. Don't judge me like that. Legions of gold dragons encircle an empty area of the ocean. The mists part and a new continent is revealed. So we mentioned, when something bursts forth, maybe a continent is created. This would be kind of a cool way to introduce a new continent into your game.
Yeah. It's your expansion.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The players stop an ancient evil, and as a result, without trying to destroy the world, an era of peace begins, putting them out of a job.
Yeah, because they've stopped everything. What are you going to do when you're a bunch of heroes and you've saved the world? You become the villain.
Yeah, because there's literally nothing left for you to do.
Now, that would be an awesome, like mid-level to pre-epic adventure where they've literally saved the world and then, thanks, we don't need you anymore. And that's how the story begins.
Sure.
And then you have to release the Dark One to balance out the world. Think about that. That would be an awesome game to play. I want to run that. It'd be fun. Let's see. The last great artifact is put together and the world ends, but it's created anew. Cool concept to consider.
Yeah. Reset button.
Yeah, it's a reset button. Again, fun to play because maybe you save your character and it's now birthed in an entirely new world. So this is kind of cool is if you're playing a game and maybe you've written this world or you're playing an existing world, something that you bought, right? And you want to run your own campaign, that's how you do it.
Sure.
The world's reborn. Everything's changed. Now your players don't know anything's going on. Got an exploration campaign in order.
Speaking of exploration type campaign, a greater good has created a new world and is seeking people to fill its pantheons. Welcome to the Colosseum.
Oh, that would be cool.
So you got to fight your way through the lists to become one of the gods of this new world, but then you've got to figure out about this world that you're now a god of.
And it doesn't have to be an epic campaign for this. You could literally all start off at first level.
Yeah.
Fight your way up, level up. Because when you're done, you get to become the god.
Right.
And that would be an awesome kind of, if you just want to play that'd actually be like a 2 or 3 run, or even like a 1 run, where you just battle it out like a battle royale with a bunch of other characters.
I would need 3 or 4 DMs and 40 people and
just mow through. And how you fight might determine the type of deity you become.
Nice. Yeah.
That would be neat. In an epic battle against insert Dark Lord, at the fall of the last hero, the great savior appears and turns the tide. Raises his staff to the sky with a whole bunch of riders in the background. Like Gandalf, right?
Yeah. I get it.
But that's a great way to start a campaign as well.
But you have to have let the players put that ball in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because otherwise you're literally just removing all player agency.
So that's one of those things where they literally go up against the Dark Lord and fail.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of like your get out of hell free card.
Right. What I'm saying is you have to have arranged that card beforehand.
Yes, absolutely. It takes some planning.
So that, you know, they're not just like, oh, look, we won through no choices of our own.
Yeah.
After freeing the first light, players must race against time to release darkness before the world burns.
Yeah. Again, got to balance that stuff out.
Yeah. The night and day cycle is important.
Another horrible thing. A mighty cleric creates an epic level spell which causes everyone to heal from their wounds until they explode. Players must find a cure.
Yep.
So the spell just gets stronger and stronger. More radiant or positive energy enters into the world, and trees are rioting, and all sorts of fruit flavors. Right, animals are being healed, and then they just start bursting.
Well, think
They
about
can't contain the energy.
there's that, but there's also think about how many of your cells die every day, and the fact that they're not dying.
It's a good point. Oh, cancer. Might be, everybody's getting cancer. That would suck.
Yeah.
And finally, an ancient gnome known as Galtrop the Epicurus summons forth an arch spirit known only as the Cuddler. The world is now much softer. The pillow god has entered the scene.
Sure. Everybody's got body pillows of each other.
It's an elder
Just-
good. Yeah, everything's cuddly. How do you exist on that? Again, maybe that's a fun thing. Maybe that's not. Actually, that would be really fun for a bunch of couples, like a couples game, and everybody just gets to cuddle.
Sure. Just play the whole game in a cuddle puddle.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So there you have it. Several ideas and options to create an elder good, throw them upon your players or storyline, and basically throw some thematics around.
It's also a way to simply build a mythos for your world.
Yes.
Like, how did your world begin? Oh, well, there are the greater goods, the greater evils, and the world came about because of the balance of each or what have you, right? It's just a creation mythos in the works.
It's also a great reset button for when you want to reboot the world, do something different.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun. Did we miss something? Write to us. info@goblinscorner.com, or you can reach me, Eric@goblinscorner.com, or
Me, Matt at goblinscorner.com.
we're on all of the things. Matt, what are some of the things we're on?
We're on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Twitch.
As Goblins Corner,
We're also on Instagram
as the Goblins Corner.
because some enterprising soul took Goblin's Corner before we did.
Well, bless that person. Did you like our show? Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite player, YouTube and Twitch.
And if you could do us a favor and click on that 5 stars and give us a review or comment on iTunes, YouTube, Podchaser, it feeds the hungry algorithm.
Gets our show out to more people. And that hungry algorithm will cuddle you to death.
It's true. So much cuddling.
So much cuddling. That's all the time we have for tonight. Once again, my name is Eric.
And I'm Matt.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
We'll see you next time.
The Goblin's Corner is written and produced by Eric Holden and Matt Staples. Show song by the mighty D20. Don't we love that guy?
Sure.
This is a Subterranean production.